This video is about Freyja battles dark spirit until spell fails. If this myth excites you, please like the video, share it with friends, and write in the comments how it pulled you into the adventure. In the heart of Asgard, the realm of the gods, the sun dipped low, painting the sky with crimson hues. Freyja, the goddess of love and war, stood atop the spire of Valhalla, her golden hair catching the last rays of light. But her heart was heavy. Whispers of darkness filled the air, a foreboding presence that chilled even the bravest of souls. The once vibrant flowers of Idleval, her sacred meadow, wilted under an unseen shadow. Freyja summoned her Valkyries, fierce warrior maidens sworn to protect the realms. They gathered, their armor gleaming like the stars, ready to heed her call. "A darkness looms, my sisters," Freyja declared, her voice steady but laced with urgency. "A spirit, twisted and malevolent, seeks to consume our world." Her Valkyries, led by the fierce Brynhildr, nodded in grim acknowledgement. "We will hunt this spirit, Freyja. It will know the wrath of the gods." But Freyja's heart sank deeper. She had seen the spirit's destruction before, a force that even the mightiest of warriors struggled to vanquish. As twilight descended, the goddess donned her armor, each piece etched with intricate runes that shimmered with divine power. Her sword, Sigurdrifa, thrummed in anticipation, a weapon forged from the essence of fallen stars. Freyja felt the weight of her lineage, the burden of her ancestors. She was not merely a warrior, she was a protector of balance. In a secluded glen, the spirit emerged, cloaked in shadows darker than night. Its form twisted and turned, a wraith of despair, eyes burning with malice. Freyja, the goddess of love, come to taste the bitterness of war, it hissed, its voice a chilling echo that sent tremors through the earth. Freyja stepped forward, her resolve unyielding. "I will not bow to the darkness that seeks to devour our realms. You will be cast back into the void from whence you came." She raised Sigurdrifa, summoning the power of the runes, a radiant golden light cascading around her. With a roar, the dark spirit lunged, its claws raking the air. Freyja met its charge head-on, the clash of divine and infernal sending shockwaves through the glen. She struck with precision, the blade of Sigurdrifa slicing through shadows, illuminating the surrounding darkness with a fierce glow. But the spirit was cunning, weaving in and out of realms, summoning phantoms to confuse and distract. Freyja felt the weight of its despair, an aura that threatened to crush her spirit. Memories of lost battles flooded her mind, the faces of fallen warriors haunting her consciousness. Yet she pressed on, a flame of defiance igniting within her breast. "Remember the fallen, remember our honor," she cried, rallying her Valkyries. They descended from the skies, striking the spirit with arrows of light, each shot infused with their will to protect. The dark spirit howled, the sound reverberating through the mountains, a cacophony of rage and pain. "Your light cannot extinguish my darkness," it bellowed, summoning tendrils of shadow that lashed out at Freyja and her Valkyries. The skies darkened, as if the very stars had been snuffed out. One by one, the Valkyries fell back, their wings tattered by the spirit's onslaught. "Stand together," Freyja shouted, igniting her resolve. "Together, we shall defeat this darkness." The Valkyries rally, forming a shield around their goddess, their combined strength radiating in a blinding brilliance. The spirit recoiled, momentarily daunted by the sheer force of their unity. Freyja seized the moment, channeling her power into Sigurdrifa. "By the blood of my ancestors, I invoke the spell of binding." She felt the ancient magic surge through her, a pulse of energy that resonated with the very fabric of the world. The spirit writhed, sensing the impending doom, its malevolence coiling tighter. With an incantation that echoed through the ages, Freyja thrust Sigurdrifa toward the spirit. "You shall be bound to the abyss, never to rise again." The blade glowed with celestial fire, a radiant spear aimed at the heart of darkness. The spirit screamed, a sound of pure hatred, as the magic began to take hold. But just as victory seemed within reach, the spirit unleashed its final, desperate assault. "I am the darkness that consumes the light. You cannot bind me." The air thickened with despair, and the shadows coiled tighter, wrapping around Freyja and her Valkyries. In an instant, the spell faltered. Freyja felt the energy wane, the bond she had forged with her sisters wavering under the spirit's overwhelming force. "No, stand firm," she cried, but the shadows pressed in, suffocating their light. The dark spirit laughed, a cacophony of malice and triumph. "Your spell fails, goddess, you are but a flicker in the depths of the void." Freyja's heart raced, panic flooding her veins. She could sense the connection to her Valkyries slipping, the strength of their unity waning. With a surge of will, Freyja fought to reclaim her power. "We are more than mere shadows, we are of the light." She called to the spirit, her voice steady despite the encroaching darkness. "I will not yield, I will not let despair take root." But the shadows tightened their grip, and Freyja felt the chill of hopelessness creeping into her heart. The Valkyries struggled against the tide of night, their wings faltering, their resolve wavering. Brynhildr, gasping for breath, locked eyes with Freyja. "Goddess, we must retreat," she urged, her voice strained. "Neth?" Freyja's voice rang out, fierce and unwavering. "We stand as one or we fall as shadows." She pushed against the darkness, the weight of destiny pressing heavily upon her. The fate of Asgard hung in the balance she could not falter now. But the spirit, sensing its victory, surged forward, a tempest of shadows crashing upon them. Freyja felt her strength draining, the spell unraveling like threads pulled from a garment. Light flickered around them, but the darkness persisted, relentless and consuming. "What will you sacrifice to save your realm?" This spirit taunted, weaving its tendrils of despair around her heart. "Your love, your honor, perhaps even your very soul?" Freyja's mind whirled with the weight of its words, the realization of the toll this battle had exacted. With a final surge of defiance, Freyja bellowed, "I will sacrifice my fear." She thrust Sigurdr into the ground, channeling her essence into the earth, her determination pulsing through the air. The magic surged, a last, desperate attempt to reclaim the light from the depths of shadow. But the dark spirit howled, a twisted scream of anguish that shook the very foundations of their battle. In that moment of desperation, Freyja felt the barriers between worlds shudder. The spell gleamed with a ferocious light, but the spirit twisted and turned, evading her grasp. "Freyja!" Brynhildr cried desperately, her voice a beacon of hope amidst the chaos. "We must retreat, we cannot fight this alone." The realization washed over Freyja like a cold wave. This was a battle far greater than any single goddess could withstand. In a flicker of time, she made her decision. "Gather the Valkyries, we shall not bow but retreat to regroup and strike anew." The darkness closed in around them, but Freyja's heart burned with fierce determination, a fire ignited by the hope of future battles to come. As the Valkyries spiraled upward, Freyja cast one last glance at the spirit. "This is not over, I will return to Banashir," she vowed, her voice echoing against the encroaching shadows. The spirit writhed in fury, but the light of the Valkyries pierced through the dark as they ascended to the heavens. Yet, despite their escape, a shiver of dread lanced through Freyja's heart. The spirit had escaped, and in its fury, it would only grow stronger. "We must prepare," she whispered, a promise to herself and her fallen sisters. "This battle has only just begun." In the embrace of twilight, Freyja's resolve hardened like steel. She would forge a plan, a strategy that would bring her back into the fray. The gods would not falter, the light would not dim, and the dark spirit would know her vengeance. The dance of destiny had begun, and its rhythm would lead them all to an epic confrontation, a battle that would echo through the ages. As the Valkyries soared away from the encroaching shadows, Freyja's heart raced, a tempest of emotion swelled within her. The dark spirit's laughter echoed in her ears, a haunting reminder of its victory that night. She felt the weight of the realm's expectations bearing down upon her as she steered her Valkyries, their wings beating in unison. The glen receded beneath them, swallowed by the gathering night like a wound festering in the earth. "The goddess, you led us well," Brynhildr shouted, her voice strained but resolute. "But we cannot return to Asgard empty-handed. The spirit still lurks in the shadows." Freyja turned, her golden hair whipping around her face, glinting like a halo in the dim light. "I know, Brynhildr, but we must regroup. Our strength is divided, and against such darkness, we will need every warrior, every ally we can summon." The Valkyries flapped their wings in agreement, their faces painted with determination, but worry lingered in their gazes. They soon landed in a hidden glade, far from the spirit's grasp, where the trees whispered secrets of the ages past. Freyja felt the cool ground beneath her feet, a reminder that life thrived even in the darkest of times. "Gather around," Freyja commanded, a spark igniting within her as the Valkyries formed a circle. "We will summon the power of the Aesir, the wisdom of the Norns, and the strength of our fallen warriors. The spirit will not claim our realm." As she spoke, the air shimmered with potential, and Freyja felt the presence of her ancestors behind her, urging her forward. This was their legacy, a cycle of battles fought for honor, love, and the protection of their world. Freyja, a young Valkyrie named Skald, stepped forward, her voice trembling yet fierce. "What if the spirit seeks to turn our own warriors against us? What if it whispers lies to sow discord among the Aesir?" "The spirit is cunning, but it cannot defeat our love for one another," Freyja replied, her voice steady. "Our bonds are forged in battle and strengthened in sacrifice. We must call upon the spirits of our brethren, those who have fallen to darkness before. Their valor will guide us." With a solemn nod, Freyja lifted her arms to the sky, invoking the ancient runes of the Norns. "Norns of fate, hear my call. We seek the guidance of the past to vanquish the darkness of this moment." A gust of wind swirled around them, and the air shimmered with ethereal light. Shadows danced at the edges of the glade, and the Valkyries felt the weight of countless souls joining their cause. A figure manifested before them, cloaked in the spectral essence of fallen warriors. Freyja, daughter of Njord, we respond to your call, the figure intoned, its voice resonating with the power of ages. It was Eitrolf, a legendary warrior who had perished in battle against the giants. The darkness you face is strong, but even shadows can be cast aside by the light of unity. Guide us, Eitrolf, Freyja replied, her heart swelling with hope. What must we do to strengthen our bond against this evil? Eitrolf gestured toward the ethereal realm beyond the glade. Seek the well of Mimir. It holds knowledge lost to time. There, you will find answers, and perhaps the means to seal away the dark spirit for eternity. The Valkyries exchanged glances, the spirits igniting anew. We shall journey to Mimir as well, Brynhildr declared, her voice fierce. But let us not forget the price of knowledge. There are always sacrifices to be made. With renewed purpose, Freyja led her sisters through the forest, the trees whispering ancient tales as they ventured deeper into the wilds. Shadows stretched long behind them, the air thick with tension. Each step felt laden with purpose, but a sense of foreboding gnawed at Freyja's heart. As they approached the well, a haunting melody echoed through the glade, beckoning them closer. The air shimmered with magic, and before them lay Mimir as well, a deep pool of water that sparkled like the stars. The history of the world lay within its depths, a tapestry woven with threads of time. But as Freyja leaned over the edge, she sensed a dark presence lurking beneath the surface. "Stand ready," she cried, her hand tightening around Sigurdrifa as she prepared for battle. From the depths, a monstrous apparition emerged, a creature of scales and shadow, its eyes glistening like obsidian. "You dare seek knowledge, gods," they hissed, the voice a mix of disdain and amusement. "You will pay dearly for trespassing in realms that do not belong to you." The spirit lunged, its massive form crashing against the edge of the well, sending water splashing in all directions. Freyja stood firm, raising her sword to meet the creature's assault. "We will not be swayed by your threats, foul beast, we seek only the truth." With a roar, the creature lunged again, its razor-sharp claws aimed at Freyja's heart. But the Valkyries rallied around their goddess, arrows of light drawn and ready to strike. "Together!" Freyja shouted, her voice rising above the din of battle. As the Valkyries unleashed their arrows, Freyja charged forward, the power of their unity resonating through her. "By the blood of our ancestors, we shall banish you," she cried, thrusting Sigurdrifa forward. The blade shimmered with radiant light, slicing through the air like a comet. The creature howled in agony, its form shifting and flickering as though it were made of pure shatter. "You think you can defeat me? I am the keeper of secrets, and I shall not be cast aside." Its voice roared with fury, the shadows swirling around it like a tempest. "Then let us unearth those secrets," Brynhildr shouted, her blade striking true against the creature's side. The impact rippled through the air, and Freyja felt the bond of her Valkyries strengthen. "We fight for each other, and together we are unstoppable." But as the battle raged, Freyja sensed a deeper danger lurking in the shadows. The spirit of darkness was toying with them, testing their resolve. "Hold firm," she commanded, rallying her sisters as they pressed forward against the monstrous creature. Suddenly, the creature unleashed a torrent of shadows that surged toward them, a wave of despair threatening to drown their spirits. Freyja felt the icy grip of fear squeezing her heart, memories of her failures clawing at her mind. "Do not falter," she urged, locking eyes with each Valkyrie. "We are the light, we are the strength of our fallen." As the shadows closed in, Freyja channeled every ounce of her power into Sigurdrifa, the blade glowing with blinding brilliance. "For honor, for love, we shall not yield to darkness." With a mighty roar, she plunged the blade into the ground, unleashing a wave of golden light that erupted from the well. The creature recoiled, the shadows fracturing under the onslaught of their combined might. "No, this cannot be," it shrieked, its voice echoing through the trees. But Freyja was relentless, drawing upon the spirits of her ancestors, channeling their strength into every strike. "You will know our resolve," she bellowed, her heart igniting with purpose. "You shall be bound to the abyss, never to rise again." As the radiant light enveloped the creature, Freyja could feel the ancient magic swirling around her, the bond between her and her Valkyries pulsating like a heartbeat. The monster screeched in terror, its form dissipating into wisps of shadow. With one final thrust, Sigurdrifa pierced the creature's core, and with it, the shadow shattered into 1,000 fragments. The well erupted in a brilliant flash of light, and the creature dissolved into nothingness, its laughter silenced at last. Breathless, Freyja stood among her Valkyries, their forms radiant with victory. "We have proven our strength," she said, her heart swelling with pride. "But the dark spirit will return. It will not rest until it consumes us all. We must prepare for the battle ahead." As they gathered around the well, the air hummed with the whispers of the past, the presence of their ancestors radiating through the glade. Freyja felt the pulse of destiny guiding her, a reminder that their struggles were not in vain. "We will gather the clans at Asgard," Brynhildr proclaimed, her eyes fierce with defiance. "Together, we shall forge an alliance strong enough to face this darkness. We will not stand alone." With renewed purpose, Freyja nodded, her heart beating fiercely in her chest. "Yes, we will unite the realms, and when the dark spirit returns, it shall find the strength of the gods standing in its way." And so, in the heart of the wilds, Freyja and her Valkyries forged a plan, their spirits alight with hope and determination. Under the watchful gaze of the stars, Freyja stood at the edge of the glade, the remnants of their victory cascading around her like glittering threads of fate. The well of Mimir lay behind her, a silent witness to the battle they had just fought. Yet the thrill of their triumph was short-lived, overshadowed by the ominous spectre of the dark spirit looming over Asgard. "Goddess, what shall we do now?" Seld asked, her voice trembling with a mixture of excitement and dread. The young Valkyrie's eyes glimmered with the light of battle, but her heart echoed a different tune, a haunting song of uncertainty. Freyja turned, her golden hair shimmering like molten gold under the moonlight. "We rally the Aesir," she declared, her voice unwavering but laced with urgency. "We summon the gods and warriors of Asgard to our side. We will forge a united front against the shadows." The Valkyries exchanged glances, their resolve ignited by Freyja's fierce spirit. "We will not fail you, goddess!" Brynhildr exclaimed, her sword at the ready, gleaming with the remnants of their victory. "We will gather the clans and let no man or beast falter in their duty." With a nod, Freyja felt the magic of their kinship swell around them, a force stronger than any sword or shield, a bond that pulsed with the heartbeat of their shared destiny. "Let us fly to the halls of Odin," Freyja commanded, raising her arms, summoning the winds that would carry them across the realms. As the Valkyries took to the skies, Freyja's heart raced with anticipation and dread. The dark spirit had been vanquished, but she knew vengeance lurked just beyond the horizon. Each beat of the Valkyries' wings echoed like drums of war, resonating deep within her soul. They soared over the majestic peaks of the mountains, the winds whispering secrets of ancient battles fought long ago. The silver glimmer of the stars danced beneath them, a breathtaking tapestry that reminded Freyja of a multitude of souls watching over them. With a sudden rush, they descended upon Valhalla, its gleaming halls illuminated by torchlight. Warriors feasted and laughed, oblivious to the darkness encroaching beyond their realm. Freyja landed gracefully, her Valkyries fanning out around her like a protective shield. The air crackled with tension, and she felt the weight of every warrior's gaze upon her. "Odin," she called, her voice rising above the jubilant noise as she stepped into the grand hall. "I seek your counsel." The All-Father, seated upon his throne, turned to face her, his one eye glinting with wisdom and power. "Freyja, daughter of Njord, you come with the shadows of battle clinging to your spirit. What troubles you?" "The dark spirit has returned, and we must unite the realms to combat its malevolence," Freyja declared, her heart pounding fiercely within her chest. "It is cunning and relentless. If we do not act swiftly, it will consume us." The hall fell silent, the tension palpable as Odin regarded Freyja with a seriousness that matched her own. "This spirit seeks to sow discord among us, testing our bonds," he replied, his voice deep as thunder. "But united, we are stronger than any darkness." "Aye," Brynhildr shouted, stepping forward, her voice fierce with loyalty. "Let us gather the clans, let us call upon Thor, Heimdall, and Tyr. Together, we shall defeat the Shadow." Odin nodded, and a flick of approval passed through his gaze. "Then we shall summon them. Freyja, your role in this battle is paramount. Your heart, your love, and your resolve guide us." As the All-Father raised his hand, the flames of the torches flickered, swelling into the air as if alive. The flames morphed into ethereal birds, launching from the hall to summon the gods and warriors of Asgard. Freyja felt a surge of hope swell within her, kindling the fire of determination. Yet doubt still clung to her heart like a stubborn shadow. "What if they come too late?" she whispered, her voice barely more than a breath. "What if the spirit attacks before we are ready?" "Fear not, Freyja," Odin said, his voice steady. "The spirits of our ancestors are with you. Trust in your strength, it will guide you through the darkness." As the minions of the gods flew forth, Freyja rallied her Valkyries to prepare for the battles to come. They sharpened their blades, polished their armor, and whispered tales of valor as they embraced the warmth of camaraderie amidst an encroaching storm. Hours passed like fleeting moments, and soon the doors of Valhalla burst open, revealing a parade of gods and heroic warriors. Thor, with MJ Elner clasped tightly in his hand, strode forward, radiating raw power. Freyja, he thundered, his voice booming like a storm. What news do you bring? The dark spirit returns to consume our realms, Freyja replied, locking eyes with the god of thunder. We must unite to confront this evil before it overwhelms us. Thor's eyes narrowed, his jaw clenched with fierce determination. Then we shall vanquish it, together. Heimdall, the watchful guardian, stepped forward, his golden horn gleaming in the torch's light. I can sense the darkness growing, Freyja. It is not merely a single spirit, it seeks to awaken ancient horrors from their slumber. A collective gasp rippled through the hall, and Freyja's heart sank. Then we must hasten, she urged, her voice a clarion call. Together, we must forge a plan that will safeguard our realm. As they gathered around the grand table, Freyja felt the weight of every god and warrior leaning into the shared wisdom of their ancestors. Our enemy thrives on fear and division, she began, her heart resolute. We must strike at its core, using our unity as a weapon. But just as hope began to flicker in the hearts of the gods, a chilling wind swept through the hall, extinguishing the flames. The shadows deepened, and a low growl reverberated through the stone walls. Freyja, now! Brynhilda cried, as the darkness coalesced into a form that twisted and turned, a grotesque semblance of horror birthed from the fears of the gods. The dark spirit had infiltrated Valhalla, its laughter echoing in the silence, a cacophony of despair. Fools that held, its voice a symphony of anguish. You think you can defy me? I am the darkness that consumes all. With a roar, Thor charged forward, MJ Elnir crackling with power. We will not yield to you, he bellowed, swinging his hammer, unleashing a storm of lightning that illuminated the hall. The spirit recoiled, but its laughter filled the space, mocking their efforts. Freyja sprang into action, rallying her Valkyries. Together, we stand, she cried, the power of her ancestors surging within her. We will not let darkness tear us apart. The Valkyries soared into the fray, their arrows of light illuminating the darkness. Each arrow struck true, but the spirit twisted and turned, evading their attacks, a shadow that slipped through their grasp. We must bind it. Freyja shouted, desperately weaving her magic. Unite our powers, channel the strength of our ancestors. As the gods rallied around her, Freyja felt the energy surge, a pulse of unity that resonated through the air. By the blood of our forebears, we shall bind you, she declared, thrusting Sigurdriff toward the spirit. The dark apparition writhed in anger, its form splintering under the combined might. You cannot bind me, it screamed, tendrils of darkness lashing out, striking the warriors. Each blow resonated with despair, but Freyja pushed forward, summoning every ounce of strength. Believe in our bond, she cried, her voice rising above the chaos. Our love is stronger than fear. The Valkyries and gods joined her, their voices merging into a powerful chant, an ancient incantation that echoed through the hall. The very fabric of reality shimmered, and the light began to push back the shadows. But just as victory seemed within reach, a spirit unleashed a tempest of darkness, and Freyja felt her spell wavering. No, she gasped, panic flooding her veins. The shadows closed in, threatening to suffocate their light. Freyja, we must hold firm. Brynhilda cried, her sword raised high against the onslaught. Do not falter, we are the light. With a surge of will, Freyja fought against the tide, channeling her love for her warriors, her ancestors, and the realm they fought to protect. I will sacrifice my fear, she yelled, thrusting Sigurdriff deep into the ground, unleashing a wave of golden energy that surged forth. The spirit howled in anguish as the light engulfed it, the shadows fracturing like glass. You cannot, it screeched, but the power. Freyja felt the energy of the divine surge through her, coursing like wildfire within her veins as she stood at the forefront of the gathering storm. The shadows pressed in, swirling with a life of their own, and for a brief, breathless moment, the dark spirit loomed large before them, its grotesque visage twisting with hatred and fury. This is the moment of reckoning. Freyja shouted, her voice a clarion call that pierced through the chaos. We are not mere mortals to be consumed by despair. She felt the strength of her Valkyries and the gods behind her, a shield of unwavering resolve against the encroaching darkness. The spirit screeched, as sand filled with venomous rage, the very air vibrating with its fury. Foolish gods, your light is but a flicker compared to the abyss. I will feast on your fears and shatter your bonds. Tendrils of shadow lashed out, striking against the warriors, the impact echoing in the hollow space of Valhalla, causing the walls to tremble. As the tendrils struck, Freyja could see the Valkyries faltering, their wings clipped by the sheer force of the spirit's despair. Brynhilda, she called, her voice a lifeline amid the storm. Rally the Valkyries, we must stand united, or we will all be lost. Together, we are the light. Brynhilda shouted back, her fierce spirit igniting the hearts of her sisters. We are the flame that will scorch the shadows. With that, her sword clashed against the darkness, a brilliant arc of light slicing through the air. Freyja felt the fierce energy of unity swell around her as the Valkyries joined in, their arrows of light raining down upon the spirit. Each arrow struck true, illuminating the cavernous hole in brilliant bursts of radiance. The spirit recoiled, its form flickering, but it was not enough. The shadows struck back, tendrils slashing through the warriors, drawing cries of pain and fear. "Fight for your honor," Freyja cried, summoning their courage, channeling every ounce of strength into her voice. "Fight for those who came before us, for all the fallen warriors who trusted us to carry their legacy." The Valkyries chanted in unison, their voices weaving a spell of protection, binding their essence together. "For honor, for love, for Asgard." The resolve surged like a tide, pushing back against the onslaught, but the spirit only grew more furious. "Your love is a weakness," the dark spirit held, the shadows coiling tighter around Freyja and her warriors. "I will break your hearts and tear apart your bonds." A massive claw descended, aimed directly at Freyja, and in that moment time slowed. Freyja could see the shadows curling tightly around her comrades, fear flickered in their eyes like dying embers. She took a deep breath, feeling the weight of destiny pressing down upon her. "No, we will not be broken, we will not be consumed." With a primal roar, she thrust Sigurdrifa forward, channeling the power of her ancestors into the blade. The moment her sword pierced the ground, a pulse of golden light erupted, washing over the whole like sunrise breaking through the night. The light formed a barrier, pushing the shadows back, and the spirit shrieked, its form twisting in agony. "What is this? You light, it burns!" Freyja felt the magic of the well coursing through her veins, the very essence of the past was with her. "We are the protectors of this realm," she shouted, her voice resonating with the strength of every warrior who had come before her. "We will not yield." Amidst the radiant glow, the Valkyries pressed forward, their arrows soaring through the air like meteors. One by one, they struck the dark spirit, each impact infusing the air with shimmering light. "Together, we shall bind you to the abyss," Freyja commanded, her heart light with hope. But the spirit was not so easily vanquished. With a thunderous roar, it unleashed a wave of shadow that crashed against Freyja and her sisters. The force of it sent them sprawling, scattering the Valkyries like leaves caught in a tempest, and the light flickered dangerously low. "Get up," Brynhildr called, her voice cutting through the confusion. "We cannot give in to despair." She struggled to her feet, blood trickling from a wound on her brow, yet her spirit burned bright. Freyja pushed herself up, her heart pounding fiercely. "We can do this, we will do this." She turned to her sisters, fire igniting in her chest, and felt the pulse of their unity resonate deep within her. "Channel your love, channel your honor." Slowly, the Valkyries rose once more, their wings spread wide, and with a collective cry of defiance, they launched a new assault. "We will not be silenced, we are the keepers of Asgard." They flew high, weaving through the darkness, their forms glowing with determination as they rained arrows down upon the spirit. "Feel the weight of our unity," Freyja shouted, her sword raised high. "Feel the blood of our ancestors urging you to relent." The spirit writhed, its form distorting as it absorbed the energy of their combined efforts, but it was still not enough to break its will. "This is futile," the spirit hissed, its voice dripping with malice. "You are nothing but flickers in the vastness of night, you will be extinguished." A wave of despair washed over Freyja, but she pushed it back, anchoring herself to the love she felt for her Valkyries, the gods by her side, and the heritage of her ancestors. "We will not be extinguished, we will burn brighter." With every ounce of her being, she thrust Sigurdrifa forward, channeling the strength of her unyielding heart. The golden light surged forth, enveloping the dark spirit in a radiant embrace. "By the blood of the past and the strength of the present, I bind you to the abyss," she cried, her voice echoing with the power of countless warriors. But just as the light began to shimmer, the dark spirit retaliated with a final, desperate assault. "I refuse to be bound, I will consume you all." Shadows erupted from the spirit, enveloping the hall in darkness. The room fell silent, every warrior felt the weight of hopelessness pressing down upon them. "Freyja, we can't hold it much longer," one of the Valkyries cried. Freyja's heart raced as despair clawed at her throat. "No, remember our love, remember our bonds," she urged, her will surging forth even as doubt threatened to crush her. But the shadows pressed in tighter, suffocating their light. Brynhildr, gasping for breath, locked eyes with Freyja, fear evident in her gaze. "Goddess, we must retreat, we cannot fight this alone." A flicker of desperation gnawed at Freyja's resolve, yet she refused to let the darkness win. "Retreat? No, we will not run from this evil." She felt the power of the ancestors behind her, pushing against the tide of despair. "Together, we shall fight." Suddenly, a voice boomed through the chaos. "Enough." Odin stood, his presence radiating authority. With a flick of his hand, he summoned a gale of wind that blew through Valhalla, dispersing the shadowy tendrils. You will not consume this realm, spirit, we will not bend to your will. The dark spirit howled in defiance, but Odin's presence stilled the air. Freyja, rally your warriors, we will bind this darkness together. With a single gesture, he summoned the power of the Aesir, the air crackling with divine energy. Freyja felt renewed strength surge through her veins, the warmth of camaraderie igniting her spirit. Valkyries, with me, she roared, raising Sigurdrifa high. We shall unite our powers in the name of love and honor. The Valkyries rallied, their faces set with determination as they encircled Freyja. The gods joined them, each warrior lending their strength to the collective force that was now a beacon of hope against the swirling darkness. By the blood of our ancestors, we bind you. Freyja shouted, her voice ringing out like a battle horn. The air shimmered as they channeled their magic into the golden light that surged from Sigurdrifa. It radiated through the hall, illuminating the shadows, then banishing despair. Feel the power of our unity. Odin's voice resonated alongside Freyja's, the combined might of the Aesir creator, tempest of light that consumed the dark spirit. You will be bound to the abyss, never to rise again. The dark spirit screeched, twisting violently as the golden energy wrapped around it. No, this cannot be, I am eternal, it howled, but the light pulsed ever stronger, a flood of warmth and love that surged to the very heart of darkness. With one final push, Freyja and her sisters thrust their blades forward, channeling every ounce of their spirit and strength.